It's Hayley Beth, and this is my natal chart. Hello and welcome to yet another video. I'm Hayley Beth and thank you for joining me today. So as I just said, today we're going to be looking at my natal chart. Now you may be wondering what the hell this is. I'm not exactly sure, but I know it's got something to do with astrology. So basically it's a bit like your zodiac, but it's more in depth. So it asks things like where you were born, what time, what day. It goes really, really in depth, and it's a whole like chart, I think. So I thought we'd explore this together. So a little bit about me. As far as I'm aware, I'm an Aries. I was born on the 18th of April. I'm a very proud Aries, and I feel like I'm a very strong Aries. I carry quite a few Aries traits. So I thought I'd share this with you. It's interesting. So yeah, so I've got my laptop here with me, and I thought we could have a little fun and see what it says about me, I guess. Let's learn something about me together. So, right, let's go down. So, it says, so I'm actually using the Cafe Astrology free natal chart report. It says, the following free birth chart tour lists planet signs, house positions and aspects. It also allows you to compare multiple house systems. The default house system is Placidus. You will only find some interpretations right now. Many of the major factors such as Sun, Moon, Ascendant, Mercury and Venus signs and house. But I'm working on adding more interpretations frequently, so check back here from time to time. So we might be able to do a follow-up video at some point to see more information, I guess. It also goes on to say, the interpretations in the following birth chart report are written by myself, Annie Heath, and are typically expanded interpretations already found on this site. I will of course link this site down below, so if you fancy doing this yourself, you can. If you do, pop in the comments what like your results are, I guess. And we can have a little bit of an astrology chat down there. So yeah, right then, I better put my name in. So I was born in April on the 18th. I must add, my laptop is super slow at times, so this could be interesting. And I was born in 1996. I was born at 6 p.m. and it was, I think it was 3 minutes past. And I was born in Gloucester. And submit. And oh, this is funky. So, it says that I am of the tropical zodiac. Oh my, what does all of this, look at this. This is fancy, but I also want it printed out and put on my wall. Okay, so let's scroll down and see what is said. The following lists positions of planets and points in your natal chart with interpretations for key factors. So, planets and points in the signs. So, Sun is in Aries. The Sun in the chart shows our character, personal identity and ego. It represents our will to live and our creative life force. Just as the planets revolve around the Sun in our solar system, we derive our life purpose from the Sun in our natal charts. The Sun is our adult, the part of us that senses our inner child, reasons things out and makes final decisions. The Sun also gives clues to our overall vitality. The Sun directs us and can be considered the boss of our chart. When people ask you what's your sign, Aries would be your answer. Yeah. Technically though, it's your sun sign that is Aries. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and people with the Sun in Aries are the first to start and the first to finish, whatever they set out to do. They are innovators. Aries is an active, energetic sign. You are likely to be direct, straightforward and uncomplicated. You expect the same from others and you're baffled when you don't always receive the same in return. This is Very true. Yeah, I will tell it as it is, and when people beat around the bush, I'm like, well, you could have just said that, you know? So, yeah. So, it goes on to say, the body comes first with Aries, and the sun in Aries people are often natural athletes. I used to do athletics, so I guess that counts. At the very least, their natural inclination is to use their bodies to get things done. With the sun in Aries, you are not given too long, drawn-out emotional moments, nor are you big on planning ahead. Instead, you tend to live your life simply. What is happening right now is most important to you. Yes and no. I think having anxiety puts that in more of a no category because I don't like not knowing what's going to happen. But yeah, impatience is a definite vice and innovation is a tremendous strength. You very likely love to start anything new and you have trouble sitting still. You're a pioneer in many of the things you do and you possess a fundamental quality of bravery that is unmistakable. Even shy Aries have a deep well of courage to draw from. Aries knows what they want and they know the quickest route to getting it. You will take shortcuts if you must, but generally what you do is above board. Underhanded just isn't your style. Some Aries people are bold, but even the quieter ones are brave and plucky in their own way. Independence is your birthright. Nothing gets you more than a fresh slate of the promise of a new day and a brand new start. You may not always finish what you start because you enjoy the excitement of innovation, and you'd be wise to choose a career or hobbies accordingly. Let's put it this way, no page in my scrapbook's finished, and I may have slightly abandoned my blog for this whole YouTube thing. Okay. You're a natural leader, but you're also fine with doing things on your own. This is because gaining followers is not your goal. You simply want to be first in line. Sometimes others might find you a little brusque or possibly even thoughtless. Often you automatically assume that others share your enthusiasm, but this quality can lead to others assessing you as insensitive or self-absorbed. You tend to hate apologies or dwelling on things, preferring to move on and forward without looking back. Aries enjoys a challenge, and with your sun in Aries, you are happiest when your life is active and moving forward. There's a childlike quality to Aries sun people, and is often disarmingly charming. Your sun sign is modified by various factors, including the aspects it makes to other planets and points its house position, the house with the sign the sun rules, Leo, on its cusp, and your Mars sign, since Mars is Aries' planetary ruler. These positions add more layers to the sun in Aries interpretation. Aries is a cardinal fire sign. So my ascendant sign is in Libra. The ascendant defines, in part, the first impression we make on others in a personal rather than professional sense. It represents our physical appearance, our physical bodies, and overall health and the body ego. It can be the mask or costume we wear to greet the world. It reveals our natural and personal defense mechanisms that we use to adapt to and cope with our environment. The ascendant also shows our first impressions of the world around us and our expectations of same, whether we are naturally hesitant or enthusiastic. For example, how we begin new projects and our attitude towards new experience comes under the rule of the ascendant. Everybody seems to like people with your Libra rising sign. You just come across as exceptionally nice, pleasant and fair, while the condition of Venus in your chart can modify this. Many of you give an easy, warm and approachable first impression. Look a little closer at the lives of people with your ascendant, and these nice people may have had quite a few problems in their relationships. Some of them have had a string of relationships, and it can be hard to imagine why. Perhaps it's because people with a Libra ascendant attract others to them effortlessly. Besides, they often don't know what to do with themselves without a significant other. Maybe that might be true. Of course, not all Libra rising people are made the same, and some simply come across as companionable, but are often quite fine on their own. I did go through a phase of jumping from relationship to relationship because I didn't want to be on my own. So I guess that is true. You might often be found smoothing everything over. You do love pleasant surroundings. You likely have a particularly charming smile, a gentle approach with others, and an easygoing image. Even those Libra ascendant natives who are not endowed with classic good looks are attractive. You may very well pay a lot of attention to your personal appearance, the colours you wear, your hair, the way you walk. The sign of Libra aims for balance, and this can translate as special attention to balance in both your appearance and manner. I would say, yeah, my hair's a big thing. It is down today because I couldn't be bothered to do anything with it. I only had work. But I also made sure I styled it all the same, you know. I still made sure it looked presentable. And yeah, my skincare is really important to me. Maybe not makeup itself, but making sure my skin looks good. So yeah, I guess that again, possibly true. You can be enormously persuasive, although you will almost always use a soft sell approach when you want to win others over, which is almost of the time. A tendency to pass the buck and keep up that nice guy / gal image can be your worst qualities. However, you can make an excellent mediator and will generally be the first to accommodate others. Peacemaking and diplomacy are powerful and necessary skills, and you have them down to a pat. I do want people to like me. I do try and be nice, I guess. Probably wouldn't be the best mediator, I don't think, personally. I feel like I just tell people just get over it and deal with it, you know? So that's probably not the best. Because Aries, Libra's opposing sign, is on your partnership sector or descendant, you might often find yourself attracted to competent, active partners. This can work out very well for you, as your partner can take on the role that you don't want for yourself. If it does cause problems, then there are some things to consider, however. For one, this can sometimes mean that your close relationships have bickering or competitiveness as themes. No comment. The more you learn to accept the blame rather than attempt to push it onto others, this can certainly decrease. You have a sweet image, yes, but if you over-identify with this image, which is very easy to do, then this can cause some interpersonal problems. In other instances, however, you attract aggressive people into your life because you seem so malleable, and this can be toxic. You need to draw some boundaries. Most of the time, however, seeking out a more assertive partner works just fine for you. And much will have to do with how Mars, ruler of Aries, is doing in your chart. I would say this is true. But I think I found this year to identify those people and remove them from my life, I guess you could say. So I don't quite have that issue. Obviously, it's continuous. It will always be. But yeah, I guess so. This is like creepy how like, I guess it makes you think of what you are actually like as a person. But yeah. You are wonderfully gracious and accommodating, making you a real asset to any group. You are remarkably skilled at negotiating and harmonising. You are a people person, and you are always intrigued by how people interact with one another. Cooperation comes very easily to you. In fact, it's usually your first instinct. Libra is an air sign, and yes, sometimes people with your ascendant can come across as airheads. I'm blonde. I've always been called an airhead or a bimbo. You know. However, that can simply be a first impression. You prefer to avoid direct confrontation. However, you can be quick to point out injustices. You prefer people are treated fairly and as equals. Again, I'd say this is true. You usually prefer that others don't experience your ups and downs or your difficult side. So true. I will always try and hide the fact that my anxiety or my depression exists around people because they don't need to see it. It's my problem, not theirs, I guess. However, this sometimes works against you. In an effort to keep things pleasant, you may give off the impression that you're fine when you're not. As a child, you may have been typecast as the easygoing, agreeable one, and it can sometimes feel difficult to break out of that mould. Yeah, I think because I do try and hide it, like when I do have bad days or I do completely like break down, people don't understand it and they're like, well, what is she doing this for? You know, she's fine. And it's like, no, I wasn't, but didn't want to tell you, and now I kind of need your help, but you're not there because you thought I was fine, and darn it. So yeah, that's just very true. An imbalanced, chaotic environment can be partially challenging for you to navigate. and it can lead to a bit of anxiety. You will do whatever you can to balance things out. You pay more attention than most to the sounds, colours and others' moods around you, and you can spend quite a bit of time and energy on attempts to bring things into harmony. For your own health and well-being, you can benefit from taking extra time to yourself, learning what it is that you need and want, as you may too often confuse others' needs and wants as your own. If you end up going along with others so that you can keep the peace, you may be doing yourself a disservice at times. Definitely, that's something I found recently, which is why I now put myself first, which probably isn't the best thing to do sometimes, but it's best for me because it means I'm happy. And if I'm happy, I'm going to live a slightly easier life. So yeah. You truly understand others, and this makes it very comfortable to be around you, particularly if in one-to-one setups. You make a good counsellor. Design, marketing, the law and art are well starred. You love orderliness and beautiful things and surroundings. The condition of Venus, Libra's ruling planet, by sign, house and aspect will give you more further details and refinements about your personal image, and you can learn more about Libra rising. My moon is in Taurus, which is interesting. That's my dad's, I guess, sun sign. So yeah. The moon in the signs reveals much about our habits, reactions and instincts. It shows how we express and deal with our emotions, most obvious in our homes or in private. Our moon sign reveals our innermost needs. The candor. What am I on about the candor? The moon can represent... I can't even read! The moon can represent our experience of nurturing. It also shows how we nurture ourselves. It's important to note that moon signs change every 2 or 2.5 days, and on some days can be one of 2 signs, in which case an accurate birth time is necessary. So that's why I did give an accurate birth time. So yeah. You had the moon in the sign of Taurus in your natal chart, and familiarity is vital to Lunatorians. You are earthy and strong-willed. You feel with your senses and you are pretty much rooted in your ways. You may very well revel in material comforts. In fact, building a stable and comfortable home and foundation helps keep you feeling safe and content. It isn't wise to try and push you into doing anything, as you tend to dig in your heels if you are rushed or dominated. But once you've committed, you're remarkably persevering. There's a steadiness to this position of the moon, and that is comforting to people close to you. But there is also a conservative streak in you that can be maddening to more progressive personalities. You tend to go out of your way to avoid messy or unpredictable situations, crises, and emotional displays. You'd rather focus on creating a reliable and secure life around you. In relationships, Lunatorians such as you may not easily recognise their partner's need for change, growth, or emotional stimulation. Staying on top of this tendency is essential. Moon in Taurus natives are usually very romantic, although not typically in a flowery way. I was going to say I don't feel that, but now it said that. Instead, their affections are strong, deep and unwavering, and they are sentimental and warm. Since Taurus is a practical earth sign, the placement of the moon in this sign suggests an ability to protect themselves and their own interests. They will rarely make a move without first determining that it is safe and that there's something in it for them. With your moon in Taurus, you have strong need for predictability in your home and family life, even if other aspects of your personality prompt you to seek out excitement in various other life departments. Generally, you have reliable instincts and you can be very much tied to the physical world, and you're likely to have a particularly well-developed sense of smell. Sensual but simple pleasures delight you tremendously. In this way, you're wonderfully straightforward and easy to please. Yeah, I'd say so. I know what I like. And they're not like complicated things or expensive things, I guess. Relationships for you are often quite enduring. Many moon in Taurus people hang on to their mates longer than most, even in the face of severe conflict. Taurus is a fixed sign, so breakups don't happen easily. This is true. In the past, I have been known to stay with someone again because I didn't want to be on my own, and I did actually stay in a relationship 6 months longer than I probably should have done. Wasn't good for me, to tell you that much. I'd have rather been alone, to be honest. There is a serenity to you that others can find very calming. In fact, it takes a lot to really get to you. However, you do get off centre every once in a while. You are not the most adaptable of people when your own routine is interrupted, for example. It's pouring down out there. While summer's ended, moving on. Though some lunatorians might be considered anal, most simply have a stubborn streak that keeps them rather resistant to change. Rarely are you a spontaneous sort unless there are many other factors in your chart pointing in that direction. Uncomfortable with surprises, you value stability. I've been talking for too long. Oh dear. Your needs are robust but quite simple at the same time. You love the good things in life. The world of the five senses is all important to you. Your love of stability and steadiness can make you somewhat of a slave to routine at times. However, you are loyal and capable, and this kind of stick-to-it energy is wonderful. So Mercury is also in Taurus. What's your style of communication? How do you make decisions? How do you pick up, process, absorb, and exchange information? These questions are answered in part by Mercury's placement in your sign in your natal chart. Someone may be an assertive Aries, but they could also have Mercury in Taurus with a style of communication that's slower, patient, and not quite as spirited as one would expect from an Aries. As an example, Mercury refines the sun sign, and it also helps to define how we take in and give out information. So for me, it says, with Mercury in Taurus, you are a plodder. You might take your time at arriving at the decision, but you get there. In fact, you're quite decisive, even stubborn with your opinions. Some may mistake the time you take over decisions for laziness, and there are indeed things that you prefer not to ponder, but you do think the important things over and often do so quite carefully. I'd say this is true, definitely. You may be slow to start a new project, but you see it through to the end. Others may need to poke you a bit to get you going, however. You have much common sense at your disposal. You rely on your senses when it comes to processing information. Smells, noise, and mood are all employed. Your communication style may at times be slow and measured. You have a deliberate way of talking, thinking, and planning. There is a placid quality to your communication style when you speak. You are usually not bubbling or scattered. As a result, others really listen to you, perhaps more than most. They take you seriously. The practicality of the sign of Taurus can manifest as a slightly sarcastic manner, although Mercury and Taurus people have an overall pleasing way of communicating. In fact, you can be quite funny with your say it like it is attitude. I think so. Many people with this placement of Mercury have exceptionally pleasant voices. The down-to-earth quality of Taurus often shows up in the speech, so it's unlikely that your expression is flowery or affected. Instead, it's infused with realistic tone that can be definite and authoritative. While I do study journalism and I apparently am good at radio and I have a good voice, so maybe, who knows? Okay, carrying on. When it comes to learning, you prefer demonstrations, concrete answers, and basic concept. Yeah, I need people to show me what to do. Learning, like, at the university, learning, like, things like Audition and Premiere Pro, I had to be shown several times before it, like, sunk in. You handle repetitive tasks better than most. You learn best when you see real-world issues for the theories that you're trying to absorb. Not that you wouldn't be able to comprehend the abstract. You simply process information better when you can personalise it. What use is it to me? And attach it to the practical world. It's interesting to note that Taurus is a sign that naturally assesses things in terms of what they can do for them. With Mercury placed in the sign, information is processed and either accepted or discarded with this kind of screening process. A well-developed sense of colour, smell and touch are characteristics of this position of Mercury. You are likely to have distinct and definite tastes, and these revolve very much around the world of the five senses. If the sun sign is Aries or Gemini, you can come across as more bullheaded than you actually are. You have no nonsense approach to decision making, and your ideas are often very practical and useful. So yeah, I'd say so, definitely. Yeah. So my Venus is in Gemini. So this is all about how do you attract things, situations, and people in your life. Venus rules our sentiments, what we value, and the pleasure we take in life. Grace, charm, and beauty are all ruled by Venus. Through Venus, we learn about our tastes, preferences, artistic inclinations, and what makes us happy. We look to Venus in the natal chart to see how we approach relationships of the heart, as well as what gives us pleasure. We also turn to Venus to show how we spend our money, the types of gifts we buy, and how much we spend on leisure activities, not to mention the kinds of leisure activities we seek. Venus rules attractiveness, both the ability to attract and attractions to others and things. Venus rules, amongst other things, the arts, love and romance, beauty, and the beautifying process, money, entertainment, leisure, sensuality, and comfort. So for me, it says, with Venus in Gemini, you will attempt to win over the object of your affection with witty conversation by displaying just how much you know and through demonstrating your diverse interests. You're a playful lover, some might even call you a tease. You're hard to pin down and you resist relationships that promise to become too comfortable. Even if your sun is in Taurus or Cancer, your outward demeanour may suggest some reserve and caution. You want your relationships to be stimulating and full of conversation with Venus, immutable air sign Gemini, the twins. You don't want to be too tied or bogged down in relationships. You appreciate light-heartedness in love. Although you're willing to talk, perhaps endlessly, about the relationship, you may gloss over some of the deeper issues. In love, your tastes change often, and it can be hard for others to know what to expect from one day to the next, or sometimes from 1 hour to the next. I guess, interpreting that, I don't tend to have a type, as many would say. I don't think any of my previous boyfriends have ever had any similarities, really. Not in looks, not in personalities. So yeah, I guess maybe if you were to interpret it that way. Pleasing you involves supporting your need for fun and variety, showing interest in your brain power and knowledge, entertaining you and giving you space for friends and activities outside of the relationship. You appreciate people who make it clear they have loads of fun with you. Partners should also try not to become overly miffed by your changeable ways. After all, time spent with you is invariably exciting and invigorating. As well, you are fully capable of settling in with someone who understands your love of conversation, changes of scenery and variety. Love of conversation. I don't stop talking. It is a known fact that I could talk for England, Scotland, Wales and Ireland. I just talk all the time, which, nothing wrong with that, I guess. Venus in Gemini, personal ad bio. I'm fun-loving. My ideal date consists of going to a cafe, taking in a movie and talking about it. I'd say that's pretty accurate, actually. So yeah, perfect date right there. You sometimes get involved in relationships solely out of curiosity. You're intellectually curious about people and you're internally fascinated by social interactions. Although you enjoy flirting, you can remain somewhat aloof when it comes to matters of the heart. You're attracted to people who are adaptable, positive and bright. Curiosity motivates you on a romantic and social levels. Variety is the spice of life, is your attitude in love and social relationships. With the personal possessions, you're sociable, communicative and interested. You can be delightfully animated and fun, but may also keep your distance on an emotional level. Attractions often begin with words, as you tend to bond most readily on a mental level. Yeah, I'd say so. I'm more interested in what you've got to say about yourself and about the world than anything else. I guess that's why I'm doing journalism. You spend money on books. Yeah, I do. I got a whole shelf up there. You're lent up against some books right now. Yeah, I spend a lot of money on books. Information and social events. You're a bit fickle when it comes to your attachment to objects and personal possessions. And you seek variety in your personal belongings. Definitely. At least once a month I do a massive overhaul and send loads of stuff to charity. So I'd say, yeah, that's true. You may very well enjoy the thought that goes behind making purchases, weighing various options. You're attracted to art that is expensive, verbal and social in tone, light and happy. Yeah, I'd say so. Definitely, especially art pieces, music. I like to spend money on those things because they're the things that brighten your life, I guess you could say. So overall, my Mars is in Aries, Jupiter is in Capricorn, Saturn is also in Aries, Uranus is in Aquarius, Neptune is in Capricorn, Pluto is in Sagittarius, and Chiron is in Libra. So it just says, you staunchly believe in seeing the other side of a story, meditating and meeting people halfway, and you have a great wisdom about relationships, making an excellent counsellor. People do talk to me about stuff, so yeah, I guess. If only I could take my own advice, say. Even so, despite these power beliefs and philosophers, it can be hard to practice these things in your own life. Is that not what I just said? You may frequently give far more than you receive, even with your strong belief in equality. So, it also says my Black Moon Lilith is in Cancer. My North Node is in Libra. My part of fortune is in Libra. My vertex is in Aries. And my midheaven is in Cancer. Pretending I know what all of that means right now. Planets and points in the houses. So my sun is in 7th house. My moon is in 8th house. My Mercury is also in 8th house. My Venus is in 9th house. My Mars is in 7th house. My Jupiter is in 4th house. My Saturn is in 6th house. My Uranus is in 4th house. Neptune is also in 4th house. Pluto is in 2nd house. And it also says, since Pluto is very close to the next house cusp, the next item is also irrelevant. So it's also in 3rd house. That's interesting. My Chiron or Chiron, I don't know how you pronounce that one, is in 1st house. My Black Moon Lilith is in 10th house. My North Node is in 1st house. And my South Node is in 7th house. Part of fortune is in 1st house. And vertex is in 7th house. Yeah, so there we have it. My natal chart. I would definitely say I do find a lot of what was said familiar to myself a lot of the time. Obviously, none of this, I don't think, you should never take anything that's said in the astrological charts and all of that as Bible. This is how you've got to be. So just live your life as you already were. But it's just interesting to see what, because obviously astrology is an old science, I guess you could call it. And it's the way people used to live by. And it is so, so interesting. So yeah, I've always loved astrology. One of the books that I've actually got my phone lent up against is an astrology book, and it's the astrology of you and me, and it's all about how you as a certain person interact with other signs in different aspects of your life, from work, social, relationships, family. So yeah, it's always something I have been really interested in. I definitely want to get my chart printed out. I think that would be quite fun. Just to have it on the wall somewhere, like even if I get something similar to that, like on a tapestry maybe, just because I think it looks really, really nice anyway. So yeah, that was my natal chart. It would be really interesting to see what yours says about you. Comment down with what your sun sign is, what your moon sign is, and where Mercury is in your sign. And we can have a bit of an astrology chat, I guess. So there we have it. That's been another video here on my channel. I hope you have enjoyed it. It is a little bit of a long one, but it's quite an interesting one. If you did like it, give it a good old thumbs up. And make sure you're subscribed to my channel. I'm hoping to delve more into my love of crystals, spirituality, and astrology very soon, along with my normal content of monthly favourites, some bookish content, and of course my weekly vlogs which go up every Monday. I hope you have a good day. Thank you for watching.